It's just so far away.
Yeah. All right, we're live.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Sorry, we're a minute late. We had a little bit of a tech issue. There we go. All right, so November, we're here. Today we've got basic welcome. We're going to do our quick updates. Then we're going to go for our deep dive topics. We're going to talk a little bit about some teacher grants, Boo Bash, and the possibility of the upcoming holiday event. And so we'll just go ahead and move into things. For our minutes for last month, we have them posted online, and we posted them on Facebook. If you've had a chance to see them, hopefully you have. Somebody want to make a call to order call to approve these minutes?
A motion.
Okay. Anyone second?
Yep.
Anyone opposed? Seeing no one, approved. All right, we can move on. Melissa, you want to go real quick through the treasurer's report?
All right, you can see our starting and ending balance. Some key highlights: teacher grants this month were $316.68. Spiritware profit was $468. Scoopy night $522.10, and our Boo Bash profits were $1,229.99.
Yeah, we've got a little bit more of a breakdown on the Boo Bash where we look at expenses and everything else later on in there, but Melissa's broken that all out for me, and we'll cover that when we do that a little bit later. But obviously we had some funds coming in this month, and there were funds going out, a lot of significant funds going out too, so us ending up with more than we came in, which is good.
Yes.
So 1 minute updates. Scoopy night. So Melissa just kind of talked about that. Thanks to everybody who came out and endured the really long wait times. So I've heard things, and kind of the people at Culver's even saying maybe this was the busiest ever, because they said, when are you doing this again? Because we need to know and plan accordingly and whatnot. We raised $522.10. That's the Culver's check, plus we had like $60 in cash tips that night. So one thing that we might want to consider doing to help with the long wait time is consider splitting in the future, or maybe have it 2 nights. My big concern with that is volunteer challenges. Because even as it was for like the last hour, it was pretty much just me and Mrs. Garrettson worked a double shift and stayed longer. So I don't know how I feel about that. I wonder if it's just better just to endure the busy times, and
They just need to prep. I mean, they didn't have enough people.
If they know that it's us again, and we touch base with them in advance, maybe they can staff up a little bit better next time, or be more prepared on their end.
I think in Oakland they forced them to split, so we should, if they're not forcing us, we can stay status quo.
Well, we can stay status quo. We're already booked, but they said you might want to do that, and I said, well, the problem with that is getting enough, whatever. I said, and frankly, we don't have as many. We don't have more kids than we had last year. You know what I mean? We've got pretty much the same number of kids that we had last year, so it should be about the same number of families and everything else. So I would say let's not. It's a Tuesday next time, so maybe Tuesday will be less popular. Maybe it'll be more popular. I don't know. You never know. So let's just see how it goes and go from there. But that is an option that we could have considered doing, is splitting it up. But I thought it was a good problem. And for the most part, I think most people were pretty understanding with it. And hopefully if they can get orders moving on a little faster, I think that was it. It's just the speed of orders. So, all right, Scoopy night, homecoming parade. Unfortunately, we had to cancel our spot. Lessons learned from this one. We had a handful of people sign up to march in it, which was great, but not really enough to endure. And unfortunately, some of those people canceled altogether or cut down, saying, well, we can only have 3 of our members of our family go instead of the 6 that we signed up for, or whatever. So it kept shrinking and shrinking and shrinking, and got to the point where we had less than 5 people for the most part signed up, and I'm like, it's just not a good presence for us at that point in time. So we just gave up our spot. One thing that I did hear from other people though was that a lot of them march with band. A lot of them have kids in like OGs that are marching, so they didn't want to march. and staff support other than our administration was non-existent for this event. So in the future, maybe we won't do it again. We could try it again and see. We do have our wonderful, lovely glow sticks that we purchased for it. We have our banners as well. We have them sitting around. We can reuse them for other things. Or we can save them for next time. So there, it's out there. I went the wrong direction. Speaking of which, we have the banners. So we've got 2 of these 4x2 banners, and we've got this one which is a 6x3 banner. I have them, like if they want to use them and hang them up here somewhere at school. They're brand new banners that we can hang up, and if we decide to do another parade or something and we need to grab them, I'm sure we can just pull them down and go from there. So should I just drop them off in the office and you guys will hang them somewhere? Maybe in the gym or something like that. So, all right, we got those. Let's see what else we got. Box tops. Christina, do you want to carry us through that?
Yes, so I submitted our fall submission. I only submitted 913 box tops, which turns out to $91.30 in profit for us. Numbers are way down in comparison to fall box top submission last year. Last year it was $217.70 is what profit was made in fall. I think it has a lot to do with the transition of the box tops. I think a lot of people are not finding the time or to remember to scan their receipts. Kind of got to try to find a way to kind of, push people to kind of, do that. The next submission is going to be March 1st. They only have 2 submissions per year, so November 1st and March 1st. But I can submit anytime between now and March. I don't have to wait and hold them all until March. I can submit, in between there, or wait until March, depends on how many I end up getting. A thought was maybe to do like a class, like a contest, to encourage participation. So we can maybe do, depending on, what everybody decides, we can do either per grade, pick a class per grade, and then they can have pajama day or extra recess or something else. If Joanna has any suggestions on something that's easy for them, that wouldn't be too much hassle to do. Or we can pick like the top 3 out of the entire school. That's all we can decide on what we want to do for that. But if we do, I'd like to, if we do decide we want to do a contest, I'd like to put the word out, sooner rather than later, so that those teachers can start compiling those box tops. It's still double dipping, so that means that even if you have a box top actual clip, you can still scan your receipt and we'll still get credit for both.
Mm-hmm.
And then also one thing I want families to remember when they are scanning their receipts, there is an option at the bottom. It says credit, and you can press that credit button before you submit and type in your student's teacher's name, and then it will give them, the teacher, the credit for those box tops that are being collected through
We'll have to
the
add that to the
scanning.
website. I missed that when I was doing our scanning, because I think I've been the one that's been scanning for our receipts at home.
And actually,
I never saw that.
it wasn't originally there.
Okay.
They just implemented it because they must have been getting like, well, how are coordinators supposed to track
For at least
what teach
competitions or
classes?
whatever, yeah.
So they must have just added it within like the last month.
Gotcha.
So that's it. So hopefully March will be bigger. I'm not sure when we're supposed to get a check. I do know that there was Jeannie, who did the box tops before, I know submitted one right at the end of the school year.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that will be included in our 9130. So there is going to be, like, she submitted one on June 4th, and that was a big one. That was $309.50.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So there's still, we're going to get more than the 9130 the way that they do, because they only disperse checks twice a year.
Sure.
So, it'll still be, but I was a little disappointed in the amount that came in for this small submission.
Well,
but
let's try the classroom
we can push
competitions or something, and maybe we have multiple, maybe not like one a month or something like that, but have have, between now and March, have one or two of these, which gives us a chance to talk about it a little bit more. But if anybody can talk about this with, friends, neighbors, grandparents, anything like that can help set this up. It really is, especially with the scanning, so much easier than it is now. But you really can have the opportunity to earn double for the school,
Right.
and you just gotta scan and do that. So, all right, thanks, Christina. We'll keep on top of that, see what we can do to get those numbers up. Spiritware. So launching today, and in about 5 minutes, watch on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and your text for the link. But our online store launched today. So we've got some new items in there. We've got a new design. We've got a lot of the old stuff that we had in there before, and some new stuff as well. So the store does close on November 22nd. And we set that date so that we made sure we got these by early December to make sure we had them for the holidays. There's, like I said, a lot of the old designs and favorites. So basically anything we've ever had before is still there, plus we're adding new stuff.
Cool.
So, and I think some of the kids will really like some of the tie-dye stuff and some of the jackets and different things like that for the winter months. So check that out. We've got music concert raffles coming up. We've got our first one next week, November 14th. If anybody wants to volunteer for that or any of the other ones, we've got a sign up on our website under the volunteer section. You can click the link to go from there. Currently, I think I'm the only person volunteered for the 5th grade one. So we've got that going out, and we'll do the 50-50 raffle during that. It's really just selling the tickets before the concert, and then once the concert starts, tallying up the money, drawing a winner, and then asking Ms. Shively if we can make an announcement to say who won, and then go from that. So it's really pretty simple on there. But check it out. If you have an opportunity to sign up for one, either if your student is going to be at one of those concerts and you want to say, well, hey, while I'm waiting, I'll sell tickets. Or if you want to sign up for another grade because you don't want to deal with it on your kid's concert night, it's a good way to, just get a volunteer hour in. All right, coming up, we've got World Kindness Day on Wednesday, November 13th. We've already been collecting a lot of wish lists for a lot of the teachers and staff here that we've been putting up on Amazon, and I know a lot of people have been donating to those already. I'm going to put a big push out on next Wednesday, reminding people of those wish lists again, and maybe to make a donation to their teachers in honor of World Kindness Day. I'll also include, I noticed a few donors choose campaigns for the building, for teachers in the building. We'll include those in there as well, that people can go in and do that. So that's just keep an eye out for that on social media and email, and we'll have that going. Book fair, we've got that coming up November 18th through the 22nd. Setup will be setting up on the 15th. The book fair will be delivering next week, I think Wednesday or Thursday of next week. And cleanup will be on Friday, November 22nd, for them to be able to come back and pick it up on Monday the following week. Melissa Stager and I have been meeting with our Follett reps and planning with that. So we're kind of in the final stages of that. We do need volunteers. We have a sign up out there. We've been trying to fill in all the times as much as possible, but we've been having a hard time filling out the daytime schedules, like when we need volunteers during the day, because we don't necessarily know when. We just found out, I guess, when most of the classes have their library times, but there's a lot that are at the end of the week, so we need to figure out a time for them to come and preview, and then a time to come back and purchase. And the hard part with that is that we don't have insight into their schedules for the rest of the time, like when they're at STEM or whatever, so we can't just make things up for that. So I've been trying to work with the new librarian on this, but I think maybe what we'll have to do is just maybe make a Google Doc and let teachers sign up for it, I guess.
I think that's typically what's been done, is just time slots are listed and they just sign up.
Okay. All right, so we'll need to do that so we can fill out our volunteers. Right now we don't have barely any volunteers for even during the conference times or anything like that. So if anybody wants to volunteer to run a register.
Did you post the sign up?
Yeah, it's on our volunteer page.
Oh.
So, and I think it's been in our last
Newsletters, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but originally the sign up started with just general looking for planning, and then as we got more details about dates and times, we've added those in. We might have 1 or 2 people signed up, but we really do need to try to fill that out because that's going to be a big part of how successful the Follett book fairs are, and we're hoping it's going to be very successful, and maybe we can stick with Follett as compared to some of the other ones out there. So that's the book fair. The other thing we need to do is get in touch with the teachers and get them to start making up wish lists so that, you know, they've got a list of things. If somebody wants to gift a book to a teacher or a classroom, they can do that as well. So that's out there as well. But there's some resources out there for the staff that we'll be sending out because they get to save 20% in the book fair, all the staff. And they have some online previews that they can see and stuff. So we'll send that out next week for them to look at and go from there. But that's coming up rather quickly here. Conferences dinner. This is something that we were asked to provide dinner for the 40 plus staff over conferences. We chose Wednesday, November 20th as the date to do it for. We'll probably need a few volunteers to help serve and clean up, so I'll create a sign up for that for people to kind of help us with that. We were looking at Portillo's catering for that. Catherine, do you want to kind of cover some of it? I've got pricing details as we move on, but is there anything you want to add to this?
No, you can. Well, I can talk about that slide when you get there.
We were thinking about maybe doing desserts homemade, but we also do have items left over from Boo Bash we can leverage as well. So, and some of that stuff is like chips, there's treats, there's drinks in there as well. So that's stuff that we probably are going to be okay with. We definitely have utensils, plates, and napkins left over too, so we should be quite fine for those types of things. So here is kind of what Catherine had looked into, and she's kind of been spearheading this, so I'll let her talk about it.
We're going to be serving about 40 to 45 staff members that night. So I figured if we did some Italian beef, some salad, and pasta, that could kind of cover everyone. So as far as Portillo's goes, they come in packs of 2.5 pounds, which makes roughly about 23-inch sandwiches, which is, it's not, you know, the big 6-inchers. They're the little, like, kind of party sandwiches. So I figure if we had enough to make 60 of those at $95.97, we can cover the staff with that. Then the bread is sold separately. They cut it all in, we needed about 5 loaves, and that's another $21. And then the salads, the large chopped salad, which that has the chicken and the pasta inside of it, that's $45. And then a large garden salad with no meat or pasta, it's about $35. So here's where I thought that the pasta was a little bit ridiculously expensive. For a full pan of like baked mostaccioli, it was $34. And I figure if we did something like that on our own, we could significantly reduce the cost of that. So my suggestion was the 3 packs of Italian beef, which includes the juice and all that, 5 loaves of bread, 1 large chopped salad, a garden salad, and that comes in at just under $200 without tax. And then we would ask for the pasta, dessert, and salad dressings be donations. So that's where we're at here.
Any, from the group here, any questions or concerns about pricing or the items, quantities?
How many people does the large salads feed?
It doesn't say, but I've thrown parties with those large salads before, and it should be enough with 2 salads. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say one of those large chopped salads. I mean, even people take it as their main meal, there's still normally enough left over.
Yeah.
You know, I would say a large chopped salad feeds maybe about 20 people. So.
Yeah. Give or take.
I think we'll be all right. Yeah. And having 2 of them there. So, but I think it's pretty close there. I'm willing to make the pasta.
Yeah, we were gonna make the pasta. So. And then, like, as far as desserts go, we have a lot of prepackaged cookies. left over from Boo Bash that I thought we could use. We can go out and ask people for donations too. But I think, do we need drinks?
I have to go back and look and see what's back in the cabinet from leftover from Boo Bash, but there was a bunch of water, and
Yeah.
as far if I remember correctly, there was a bunch of pop.
Yeah,
left
so I
over
think we
too
might
in
even
the
be
cabinet.
covered with that too.
We might
so.
be covered with that. Well, I'll have to go and look and see if we need to get a little bit more. We'll get a little bit more. Not the end of the world. So, the only thing I could say is, well, maybe we've got a lot of regular pop, but we need a little more diet or something like that,
Right.
or whatever. We'll cross that bridge, and I'm not too worried about those small expenditures for that. So, but that's kind of the plan. Any objections to that? All right. Well, if anybody on Facebook has any questions or comments, please put them in there. We'll take a look at those as well before we go ahead and execute on. That's kind of the plan. So thanks, Catherine, for pulling that together. Bowling event. We got a book for Monday, December 30th from 1 to 3 p.m. We are renting and selling our own tickets. We put the deposit in. We're renting the entire facility. I don't think any of this is necessarily that new. I've got to create the sign up for this and get that out there. So probably before Thanksgiving, I'll have this out there and we can start selling the tickets online. Hopefully it's all mostly going to be online for reservations and things like that. So keep an eye out for that, and we'll have that out there coming up. All right, so grant requests. We've received one grant request this month from Valerie Rivera. She asked for some flexible seating and a microphone, and I forgot that she sent me like some exact links to what the items are. But really this is some additional seating options for her classroom and a microphone so for that her and the teachers can use when they're having classroom discussions to kind of help them project voices and understand things that are going on. So the cost of that is $195. Sorry, I didn't add the pictures to the PowerPoint. But that is our only brand new grant request received at this time. So any questions on that grant request? All right, any, well, should we just vote on it, I guess?
Yep.
Anyone in favor of the grant request?
I motion to approve.
Okay. Anyone opposed? All right, it's approved. So I will be in touch with Mrs. Rivera, and we'll get that paid out however she wants, whether she wants us just to order the stuff and have it shipped to her, or if she wants to purchase them and then have us reimburse her, we'll do that as well. There was one grant request from last month that we kind of tabled, and we talked about the author visit from Aaron Reynolds for $3,000 for 3 presentations. I believe where we left this off, we were going to see about if there were any Title funds available, or Title I funds available like there were last year for this, and I think we were told we have to wait and see how that goes. But
We do not have, we have Title I funds, but it's not in the budget that
For
would
this.
pay for
Okay.
this.
So, I guess with this group knowing that, I don't know if we would want to motion to vote on it or table it or what. There's kind of a smaller group here tonight, so,
I think it was something also that they're wondering if it's something we can work toward, like if we can have certain fundraisers that are going toward this in the future even. And the school can also contribute.
Mhm.
We wouldn't be able to afford the whole thing, but.
Yeah. My biggest concern through all of this is when we went through this and we looked at other alternatives, because I think last year when we tried to get Aaron Reynolds, he was booked up, and so it was, what other alternatives are there out there? This one was almost triple the cost of what a lot of the other ones were. And so that's my concern, is are there other likewise, author visits that would go there? It's not that I've heard anything bad about this one as well, but I'm just wondering if there's ways to spend the money a little more wisely. I don't know.
The school will be purchasing, that sounds odd, but we'll have an author here for the spring book fair, whenever
Okay.
that may be. It's the
Spring Book Fair dates?
She lived locally, so, and she was here last year, so. The same, weren't you there last year?
No.
Sure. I guess you would probably remember.
I mean, I was here last year, but I don't
Yeah.
know who it was.
Natalie Rompello.
Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah, I remember.
Yes.
Didn't you guys have a couple authors last year, or like
Yes.
book? Yeah.
She was at night.
Okay.
Okay. And there was another one, I think Mrs. Halterman did like a virtual one.
Yes.
through,
Yeah,
like,
so I think, yeah, it got a
Skype
little
or
confusing.
whatever, I don't know. There was another group that I was talking to, which might be more in play for this year because we have more younger kids. There's another local author duo that is doing books in here, and I had information from them as well. That was willing to come out, but she lives in Antioch, and I think her illustrator partner lives in the area too. I don't know if she's in Antioch as well, but we had some of their information as well for something to look at. So I don't know, maybe for this year, we look at we kind of dragged our feet on this, so I don't even know if Erin is still available for this year still. But maybe we look at something a little bit cheaper for this year, and then maybe we set up a goal for next year.
Well,
that we can.
I'm just gonna throw this in because last year we did the assembly, and so I feel like it needs to be one or the other. It can't be both
Okay.
at this kind of rate. So we need to determine as a group: are we more willing to go the author route, or are we wanting the kids to have more fun?
Yeah, that's true. We did the one last year with the game show one that was more of a break.
Yeah, it's
in it.
right.
I feel weird asking the group that here when there's only 4 of us in the room right now.
Well, that's okay.
Tell you what, I will put a post on Facebook, a poll, and let people vote what they think is a better
Right.
concentration for the boosters. We'll report back on that next month, and we'll make the decision then, 100% for
Yeah.
that. I think right now, though, my vote would be to not spend that amount of money on it just right now, and see if we can look at that for the future.
I'd rather spend that money on teachers or students more directly, honestly.
Okay. All right, so I will follow up with Andrea on that, and we will follow up on some of the other things. But yes, we do need to get something going if we're going to do another assembly as well. So we will. I'll get that post out there. All right, Spirit of the Bobcat. This is a picture of the lovely Miss Cher who won it last month. She took this picture on her last day with the award. She was out walking around with it, enjoying it, I guess. So if you don't know what this is for teachers and staff only. There's points that I have a proprietary little system that I use to help us gauge the level of support that the boosters are getting from the different staff members out there. This all ties into a raffle that we'll be doing next month. The first one raffle is going to be next month because we're going to do it twice a year. So we'll do one in December and one at the end of the year. And people earn points whether they are the winner or not. You can still earn entries into the raffle just by participating and doing things, and you really don't have to do that much to participate, just supporting the boosters, helping share, helping follow along with the things that we're doing, different things like that, and you can earn entries. So, one way that other people that are not staff members can help is they can go on our website and fill out our I Spy form to help report anything that they see that teachers and staff are doing, because we are not always necessarily everywhere to see it all. Teachers and staff sometimes send us copies of their newsletters so we know that they're mentioning us in those messages. But also people can report that, and people do report, but I'd love to see some more people reporting some of the good things going on out there, because I'm sure there are things that we're not seeing that we can add into this. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at who made our top 5 this month. So in 5th place with 90 points, that's a big amount. That's, I think, even bigger than we had last month. Total was Mrs. Turner and Mrs. Faley. So congratulations, guys. Thanks for all the support. In 4th place, Mrs. Andrea Halterman with 98 points, getting a little close there. So you'll see that there's a little bit of getting close. Mrs. Scherer fell to 3rd place this month, so but she still had a lot of work with 103 points as well. In 2nd place, Mrs. Rivera with 138 points. She was at a lot of stuff and helped to volunteer at a lot of different things. So thank you, Mrs. Rivera, for all your support. But in first place this month is Mrs. Jasinski. So thank you for all you've
Yay.
done. 175 points is, I think, maybe the all-time record that I've seen for one of these. So thank you for the support that you've put in, and you've helped foster for the boosters. Thank you very much. So we'll make sure you get a copy or get the trophy handed off to you. I don't know if Miss Cheryl will kind of come and hand it off. Maybe you guys she'll grab a picture for you, or for us too, so we can display it here as well. But congratulations. And lots of you will be entered into the raffle. I do want to say that even if your name is not up here, there were a lot of support for the different things that we had this year for a lot of people. I just can't list everybody that's on there. So thank you, everybody, for all your support for the boosters this month. It's been overwhelming. All right, volunteer opportunities. I wanted to add the slide in here just to kind of talk about some of the things that we have and encourage people to sign up for them. This Friday, they're looking for volunteers for the PBIS card. We posted that on Facebook. There's a link for that out there that's gone out there. So if you can do that, I know that I think they're still looking for volunteers at this point in time, but they were last time I checked. 5th grade math helpers, they're looking for someone basically every day for about 35, 40 minutes to kind of come in and help out with some of the 5th grade math students, kind of help them master some math facts. That's pretty much a daily thing. We've got to sign up for
Flashcards.
So,
Flashcards.
Flashcards,
Yeah.
But it might evolve into other things, who knows, as
Yeah.
time goes on. Right now, we've got a schedule out there from now until the end of the year, so if they need that to extend, we can do that. There's a few days that I think Ms. Turner went and signed herself up for it, because I think there were days where they were practicing for the concert or whatever and they couldn't do it. But I know there's a few people that have already signed up for it, but they're definitely looking for some more help, and it's a great way to get involved and help out with some of the kids at school. I got a request today for the help with the November PBIS project. This month they're celebrating
Thankfulness.
Thankfulness, there we go. Thankfulness as the character trait for the month, and they have an idea where they gave every student a leaf to decorate and to talk about thankfulness, and they need help hanging those up. So I guess on Monday and or Tuesday of next week, they're looking for a few volunteers that can come in and do that. There's no sign up for that, so if you're interested in doing that, you can reach out to Mrs. Halterman, and she was the one that had asked for the request. So if you're available for that, that would be a great way to do that. I posted that on Facebook earlier today with her email address, so if you're looking for it and you're on our Facebook group, go ahead and find that there. Book fair, we talked about that already, so you can volunteer for an hour of time during conferences or during that week when it's not conferences to help kids check out and things like that. That would be great. Those are the dates that we really need the help with, is the checkout. We'll also need help with the cleanup and the setup as well, but that's really out there. The preview dates, we really don't need help in the library for them with that. That's my understanding, is they haven't really used parent helpers. If we have some, great, but that's not as required as the actual checkout times. Conferences, staff dinner, we will be looking for a couple of people just to kind of come and help make sure that people are doing things, setting it up and taking it down. That takes place on Wednesday during conferences, so if you have that availability, let us know. We'll also create maybe a sign up for that. And then talking about maybe Winter Wonderfest, which is one of our topics coming up, we'll get to that in more detail. And then one of the things that I had thought of doing is something that's a little bit more of a staff incentive. And this is something that I used to do back in the day at Hillcrest, and it was an incentive for some of the staff. We kind of had like a raffle or something like that. I don't know how we would choose the names for it, but the idea is that you have last week of winter break, you choose 5 winners or 5 people. They can bring in a stack of holiday presents and somebody wraps them for them. It's a way of giving back some time to the staff members to do that. If anybody's interested in that, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to organize that. We'll have to figure out a way to make that work out, but that was always pretty well received, and people were really excited to have some time back that they didn't have to wrap a stack of presents. So that's something we'll get bringing this year.
And that would be before break, not
That before
during
break. Before break, yes.
Yeah, you
So
said.
it's that last week of school before winter break. And then we would just have to make sure that we could find a space that we could do it. Normally it's, you commandeer a conference room or something for that week, so. All right, deep dive topics. We'll go into this Boo Bash. So, from our counts, which was kind of hard because we didn't have a ticker at the door to say how many exact people we had or whatever, but we had over 300 people pre-buy. Most of those showed up. I would say probably at least 300 out of the 310, 315 people that pre-bought showed up. And by our estimates, we had somewhere between 400 and 500 people total. If you add the pre-buy, 300 pre-buy plus maybe another 100 to 200 people at the door. So that's pretty amazing. Our total income for the event was over $2,500. Our expenses for the event were about $1,300. And that's where we got our total amount raised of about $1,200. So that's where we're at. I think that's been our biggest total profit amount to date. I don't know, maybe the spring event was a little bit more. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at the numbers to see, you know.
I think they're
the cost
pretty
versus-
pretty comparable.
They're pretty close. So that's pretty great for an event. We've got a lot of leftover candy. We're talking probably 3 or 4 giant, like Sam's Club size bags full of candy. Plan was to use that for the homecoming parade, but we canceled that. So if anyone has any ideas for that, that's great. I was kind of hoping maybe student council was going to do the thing where they sent it to the troops, but they're not doing it this year. So I don't know.
For teacher conference, put it in
I mean,
bowls.
we can put them out, you know, and give away candy or at the book fair or something like. I don't know what we can do, but we'll have to figure out something to do with it. But if anyone has any ideas or suggestions, please let us know. Or if, you know, listen, if there's another group that's doing the candy to the troops, we can do that too. You know, it doesn't have to be through us. So if anybody has any thoughts or ideas on that, please let us know, because I don't want to sit on that candy forever. So. The games and decorations are in storage, thanks to Christina Harris. Big, huge thank you to her for finding a spot in her home to store those, which is fantastic. If you hadn't seen the pictures, we had a lot of great pictures from the event. Overall, it seemed like people liked it. 90% of the people that took the post-event survey said they would attend again, which is great. These are just some of the trends that we saw on there. This is kind of just to give us an idea of lessons learned. We definitely have things that we would improve. We even said that as the night went on, like next time we're doing this, next time we're doing that, you know, whatever. But some of the great things that people loved about the event, they really liked the games. A little bit of feedback on some of them were maybe shorter games because people are waiting in line a long time, or maybe we need to have more. So that they're not stacked so long waiting for someone to go through them. Spooky stories were very positive. Everybody loved those. There was some comments though that maybe we could have had some better signage inside. And maybe some people didn't know exactly where the music room or whatever was to help them find it. So that's something we can definitely do in the past. One of the positives was to have staff, or that we had staff present. One of the negatives though was more staff present. So that's something we'll always have to work for a little bit, but we did have some people attending. We had some volunteers from the staff, and we had people that were just attending, just to enjoy it as well. So that's great to see that. I know a lot of the kids like to see those as well. One of the positives, all ages, everybody really liked that. This one's not necessarily related, but there was a call for maybe some healthier snack options.
We had gluten-free pizza and nobody bought a slice. So,
I think one of the simpler things.
not one slice.
Yeah.
I think we only got 3.
I know, exactly. One of the things that we can do is we can make sure that we do have a fruit or a vegetable for those events.
Well, that makes it hard though because they're perishable.
Yeah.
It
So
is.
if
is.
it doesn't
Cups,
go,
though.
we could do fruit cups.
Yeah.
Because if they don't go, then what are you going to do with them?
Right.
So fruit cups could be an option.
That could be an option.
Yeah.
That could be an option.
Or applesauce pouches.
There's things like that we could look at and see what we can kind of offer up there. For the ones that said there were healthier snacks, people liked the concessions that we had though as well. So, you know, with this, you'll see there's a little bit of give and take on either side. For all the people that complained, there were people that said it was great, and vice versa. Volunteers, it was great to see that we had some great high school volunteers that were very attentive and helping out, and even from the middle school, and parent volunteers. One of the negatives was more volunteers though. I don't think anybody would argue with that one as well. Bounce houses were something that people really liked. People asked maybe it needs to be bigger, like take up more space in the school, which we had two biggest spaces in the school, so I don't know how we can do that if we're doing it indoors unless we move outdoors. And some people had asked maybe it should be longer than the 2 hours. You know, I think we kind of had to kick people out at the end, so you know, we would have stayed all night if we had let them, I guess. The costume contest, people loved that we had it, but the organization admittedly we were overwhelmed. I mean, at the point that we had, you know, 6 pages of people signed up for a category, and we'll definitely break up categories if we do it in the future and look at that a little bit better, but we'll look at ways that we can do that a little bit better. There was a lot more people that signed up for that than we thought. So we will look at ways that we can improve that as well. A lot of people looked at the value and the reasonable cost. Actually, 26 out of 28 people that took the survey said it was fantastic value and whatever. But there was at least one person, if not more, that said adults should be free, but I guess maybe they missed the part where if you pre-ordered, the adults were free. So,
too bad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You know, it's just one of those things, you know, you're never gonna make everybody happy, but one of the pluses was lots of families. It was a great time to see lots of families coming out and whatever, but maybe different ways that we can speed entry to the event. And also we had the lesson learned about the bill denominations in our cash boxes.
Yeah.
Not doing the math on, you know, we're gonna use a lot of singles because, you know, we've got odd numbers going on here. But those are all lessons learned. We'll definitely improve for future events, but that's why we do these surveys, is to pulse, get people's reactions to it, and see what we can improve on for future events and different things like that. So thank you for everybody who took the time to give us your feedback on this. We will do this with every single event as long as I'm around, because I think it's a valuable lesson for us when we're doing this. So thanks for everybody that came out. Bash was a success. All right, so that brings up the next thing. We talked about having Winter Wonderfest, or whatever name we want to give it, on Sunday, December 8th from 12 to 3 p.m. This would be when we do our holiday shop that we have booked already. We've talked about making this a free event, and then having some activities there, and maybe some of the activities we would sell and have tickets kind of carnival style, or sell a wristband that would have, you know, limited usage, but we would make it free for anybody that wants to come. We've got listed here a few different possible activities, but I think the bottom line before we get into any of this is we need volunteers to help step up and run an area if we're gonna do this. If we don't have people stepping up and saying, hey, I'll take over doing running a craft and organizing a craft for this event, we're not gonna do it. You know, this event's gonna be as big or as small as we have volunteers that are willing to help us. So right now we have the holiday shop set up. We've thought about doing a bake sale, which I think is probably something that's pretty easy for us to do. We can set that up as a sign up and have that out there, kind of like running a concession stand. But hopefully we can have people have that out there. We'll do the concessions as well. Maybe have some hot cocoa. Maybe we won't have a full out meal for this event, but we'll have something out there. We can decide that as a group as we move on. We talked about having maybe caroling and music, and Catherine, I know you reached out to some of the music teachers.
So I reached out to Oggs and Petty music teachers, both general music and band and orchestra. I heard back from Oggs, and their choir teacher over there is willing to have some ensembles come over and do some caroling. She's going to get back to me on specifics, who and what. I think she said tomorrow. Orchestra as well. Ms. Toller said that she would organize maybe a couple different groups of kids, not the full group, of who would be willing to come over and do that for us. Haven't heard back from anyone else yet, but if we, had at least a few maybe from choir, a few groups from choir, a few groups from orchestra, if we got some Petty kids to come and sing, that would be great too. I don't know about band, but it's an option. So
Yeah, it's just another opportunity to give the kids a chance to perform,
Right.
do some things, and for people to come and see them, and do some different things. These aren't going to be full out
no,
orchestra.
yeah, it would just be
whatever.
like kind of background, for the event. So
But yeah, and so that'd be great. So if any teachers or staff would like to do that, or if maybe they want to have a teacher choir, they want to get up and sing, which I highly doubt maybe that would happen, but I'll throw it out there. Anybody that would like to come out and do that a little bit, that would be nice just to
Mr.
have.
Hinkle's band.
There you go. So that would be great, and we can look at having whoever wants to come out. We're welcome to have you out there. One of the other things that we thought about doing for an activity was maybe like a snowball fight, but with like the fake snowballs, and you get a bunch of those and put them in a room, and people can go in there for a little bit, throw snowballs at each other, and come back. So that's something we can do out there. I think I looked, and I think you can get like 50 of those snowballs for $40 or something like that on Amazon, and have those out there. So that's something that we could do. Obviously, that would be something that would be, a ticket or a wristband type activity for people to do. I think crafts would be a good one, whether we have some like ornaments or different things that people can sit around and do. I think that would be good. I reached out to Jessica Beechner, is that her last name?
Mhm.
Okay, and who's running the Snow Buddies program here at Petty. We're just kind of like circling back and forth on when we can meet, but the idea was maybe we can do something with that to kind of help that out, whether we make that a collection point where people can bring that up or people can sign up. I don't know the details of when she needs the things to support that, but I want to find a way to work that into this event as kind of a community service portion of it. So we talked about the bake sales and sessions. Do we want games? One thought was I've got a giant bingo drum that we can use, and we can just make bingo cards and people can sit and do that as a game. That's a relatively low cost, low turn thing as far as volunteers go, and we can keep that going. So that's an activity we could have there as well. Photo booth, we could have that out there as well. I reached out to the person that did the photo booth for our spring event, and it's a little bit pricey. This time around, I think it's something like $500. I can see if I can talk them down from that. It's a lot more than we paid for the spring one. I think it's something like $50 more an hour, or $25 more an hour, so I can see if I can get her to hold the rate there. But the event is a little bit longer. It's an extra hour than what we had for the spring event.
but we can adjust that too.
But we can adjust that as well. So those are things that we can all think about. But the idea is they get those photo strips, and then the digital ones, people could use those photos for whatever. We can also look for a different photographer as well, if we can see it there. Maybe a visit from Santa.
I did look into two. I'm waiting to hear back
Okay.
for one availability on one, and the other one, he kind of does it just for fun kind of a thing. So
Mhm.
I'm hoping he'll be like, sure, for a couple of hours,
Okay.
why not?
And that would
So-
be the other option, is if we don't do the photo booth, we get a photographer here just to take pictures of kids with Santa, and do that. The other thing though that I think we're pretty much set on, whether we have how big of an event we have or not, I think we're gonna do a raffle for this, and we'll start selling these tickets maybe at the book fair, or sooner if I can get the tickets done. But the idea is we'll have a grand prize of $500 cash, and a second prize of a Nintendo Switch Lite, and we have a little asterisk by there. If you win the second prize and you would rather not have the Nintendo Switch and you'd rather have the cash equivalent of $200, we could do that as well. The idea is we only have 1,000 tickets, so your odds are going to be fantastic. And we'll do $5 per ticket and 5 tickets for $20. So we'll do the drawing though at the event, and we'll do it there. But the big thing is we really need volunteers. So if you are interested in stepping up to help us run, plan one of these ideas, we will help you and move you through it, but we really need people to do it, and that's going to determine how big we go for this, because until we get the plan down, I'm not going to start promoting it just yet. So I think we need to give it till maybe Monday of next week at the latest, and then say, all right, what do we got? And then we're going to figure out how big this thing is. So if it's something that you're interested in helping out with, please reach out to us, any one of the board members, in the next day or so. That'd be great. That being said, our next meeting is Wednesday, December 4th from 6 to 7 p.m. back here and online. Hopefully we see a few more people here, which would be fantastic. Thank you all for coming and for attending.
Thanks everyone online.